artBOS Episode 5. The feast, the camera, and the name that protected me. The feast doesn't arrive quietly. You hear it before you see it. Brass bands colliding a few blocks out, church bells punching through the afternoon heat, generators coughing to life behind sausage trucks. The air thickens with sugar and grease and devotion. Money gets pinned to saints' robes while they look away. By the time the banners go up, the North End isn't a neighborhood anymore. It's a new ecosystem. I'd grown up around it, the feast. Everyone in the neighborhood had. You learned early what it was for tourists and what it was for locals, and you learned not to confuse the two. For tourists, it was spectacle. Lights, food, a story they could tell later. For locals, it was jurisdiction. A calendar event that rearranged power for a weekend. Adriana handed me her camera that afternoon like she was handing me a task, not a responsibility. "It's a commission," she said, sliding it across the desk. $200 if you get the money shot," she winked. The camera felt heavier than it looked. Scuffed plastic, worn strap, the battery door taped shut. It had lived a life. "What's the job?" I asked. "Couple having dinner at one of the restaurants," she said. "Anniversary. It's where they met." "Inside?" I asked. She shook her head. "Outside. Looking in. Romantic. Candid." "That sounds like stalking," I said, before I could stop myself. Adriana laughed like I'd said something charmingly naive. "Honey," she said, "art is always a little invasive." She gave me the time, the restaurant, and a photo of the man. Not the woman, just him. "That's who they care about," she added, almost as a side comment. I slipped the camera around my neck and stepped back into the heat. The feast was already spilling into side streets, food carts wedged where cars used to be, folding tables pressed into service, music bouncing off brick until it lost all direction. I walked slow, letting myself blend in. The camera made me feel official, like I had permission to be anywhere as long as I looked busy. I took photos before I needed to. Pastry trays stacked high with powdered sugar, old women counting bills at the sausage stand with the focus of surgeons, kids darting through legs, sparklers trailing light, people waiting in line to be blessed by a priest. The feast sounded like chaos, but it wasn't. It was layered, controlled. You could feel the boundaries if you paid attention. That's when I heard it. "Hey, take a picture of us." 3 guys stood near one of the side streets, beers in hand. Mid-20s, maybe. The kind of faces you'd see anywhere and nowhere. "Sure," I said. I raised the camera, framed them quickly, snapped the shot. They leaned closer. "Take another," one said. I did. "Thanks, man," he said, grinning. "No problem." I moved on, checking my watch. The commission mattered. $200 mattered more than I wanted to admit. Rent was always waiting. So was tuition. So was the quiet panic that maybe I was confusing proximity to art with progress. The restaurant sat just outside the loudest part of the feast, close enough to catch the overflow glow, far enough to feel private. I crossed the invisible line and felt it immediately. The noise dropped, the air changed, the crowd thinned. That's when I felt it. Footsteps. Not rushing, not hiding, matching mine. I sped up slightly. So did they. I turned my head just enough to see them. The same 3 guys from earlier. Smiles gone, faces focused in a way that didn't belong to celebration. "Hey," one called out. "Quick question." I didn't stop. They picked up the pace. "I just want to ask about the picture," he said, voice easy, rehearsed. My chest tightened. Every instinct I had started became focused. I turned into an alley, hoping for a cut-through. Dead end. Construction barrier, plywood, brick walls and machinery. I spun around, back pressing into the brick, the camera bouncing hard against my ribs. "Camera," the lead guy said, holding out his hand like he was asking for the time. "It's not mine," I said. My voice sounded thin to my own ears. "I don't care," he said. "Give it." I shook my head, brain scrambling. "It belongs to..." I said it without thinking. "To the gallery." The words landed like a dropped glass. One of them frowned. "Wait," he said, "that's Adriana's camera." Everything stopped. Not fear, recognition. The lead guy stepped back half a step. The others exchanged looks. Nobody apologized. Nobody threatened me. They just turned around and walked away, like the alley had become off limits the moment her name was spoken. I slid down the wall after they left, breath coming fast, hands shaking as adrenaline drained out of me. The camera strap was twisted tight around my wrist. I didn't understand what had protected me, only that it wasn't luck. I forced myself back onto the street, into the light and noise, and finished the job like nothing had happened. I stood outside the restaurant window, pretending to frame reflections while I captured the couple inside. Two faces leaning toward each other, candlelight softening their edges, the man's hand hovering near the woman's wine glass like he wasn't sure where it belonged. I took more photos than necessary. Redundancy felt safer. When I got back to the gallery, Adriana was talking to someone I hadn't seen before. Tall, still, clothes that announced themselves. He occupied space without effort. "Hi, honey," Adriana said when she saw me. "This is B." He offered his hand. "Bashir," he added, like the name was a footnote. They talked about a painting, a commission, a beach scene, one red umbrella in the center. Adriana was careful with her words in a way I hadn't heard before, like she was choosing each one from a list only she could see. When he left, I handed her the camera. She scrolled through the photos, eyes narrowing in concentration, then widening in satisfaction. "These are perfect," she said. She paused on one image longer than the others. "Good," she murmured. "That means it's them." "What do you mean?" I asked. She looked up, smile already back in place. "Nothing, honey. Great work." That night, the feast music echoed long after I got home. Sirens bounced off narrow streets, the city with its usual rhythm. And for the first time, I understood something important about Adriana's name. It wasn't just respected, it was enforced.